Welcome to Tea Time with Dr. K, where we share stories that inspire transformation, celebrate victories, and dive deep into the journey of health and wellness. Grab your tea and let's build a better you, one conversation at a time. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Cross, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Tea Time with Dr. K. We have a very special guest here today with us, Eric Crutchfield, one of the biggest influencer in Dallas area. And thank you so much, Eric, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm
excited.
I'm excited for you to be here too. And so he's in areas of development and construction. And I'm going to let you guys hear about his story and his journey. But first of all, thank you so much. I know you're busy, but you took the time to be here today, and I so appreciate you.
I'm excited. It's going to be a good conversation.
Of course. So, Eric, I know, let's mention Mike Barry. When the first episode he came, he goes, "Is this a good Hennessy?" And I don't drink alcohol. So I said, "Oh, yeah." And he started laughing because he knows I don't know what he was talking about. And so, anyhow, this is just water, you guys.
Yeah.
This time is water. So, Eric, you want to tell our audience how we met, through whom we met, and how you became my patient, my practice, and the whole journey. So
yeah, I met through a mutual friend, Mike Barron. Shout out to Mike. What's going on?
Mike.
Met her at Nick and Sam's. Went and met Mike for a dinner. One of a really prominent steakhouses here, Nick and Sam's. We love it. But anyway, walked in, saw Dr. Chorus. And she was just so lively and happy and wild. And I was like, oh, man. But yeah, she was awesome. Ended up turning out to be a dentist. And she invited me to get my teeth cleaned. I said, sure, let's do it. Teeth whitening, actually. I came up to get my teeth whitened and ended up getting a crown somehow. So I don't know how that happened. But hey, my teeth feel good. And we still haven't got the whitening done. But we're going to do it.
I know.
This week.
Can I tell him why you're not getting whitening done?
Yeah, tell him what happened.
So he has a lot of leaky mercury restoration. And so I told him, I said, Eric, listen, I can do the whitening for you, but we should take care of these first. Because then I want to make sure that if everything gets whitened right. And the teeth, he doesn't know what he's talking about getting a crown. He actually fractured a cusp. And he just wanted me to do a filling. I said, listen, I do patch-up dentistry. He's in construction. So the way I made sure he understood what is it that I'm doing that is important, I said, listen, you have this, you don't have this supportive structure for your, building. What's going to happen? He's like, oh, yeah, it's going to collapse. I was like, okay, so you expect me to put a filling on it when I know it's going to fracture. So I don't know, somehow somebody put this idea in his head that maybe crown is not a great idea, but does it look great, man?
Yeah, she talked me into it, and it actually looks better than it did. So
I'm into it. I think I educated him more than anything.
Sorry. But I'm happy with the results. So if you are in the DFW area, definitely come see Dr. Cora. She's the best.
I appreciate it. You want to tell us a little bit about the process? I know we prepped the crown, and then we had the process, right? Knowing gooey impression stuff, digital scan.
Yeah, the process is phenomenal here. Probably the best dentistry I've ever been to. She has everything. So much like state-of-the-art equipment, she makes it right there on the software, sends it to this printer machine, it prints it up, she comes back, puts it on, tests it out, takes it back
to the oven,
hardens it, and it's like, boom, there you go.
Done.
Yeah. I was like, all right, okay. But yeah, it was great. It's super white if you can see it back there. But yeah, I'm happy.
He has super white teeth himself, but he just wants to make it look gorgeous more, somehow.
Okay, we got to.
You got to. So, but what's interesting, and I learned a lot from his partner, Danny, today. He was on my podcast earlier, and I know he was 21. I learned so much from him. But Eric, you and I are the same age, right?
Really?
Right? How old are you?
41.
41. I'm 42. I'm a year older than you. So, but
just a baby.
I'm just a baby. Oh, you're just a baby. Oh, outside. Yeah. And I don't know if you were the baby, what's happening with Danny? He was just born.
Yeah.
He's 21. He's
an infant.
But he has also talks highly of you, and he learns so much from you. He goes, and even if I'm like slacking at some point, Eric is there to just show me, to be consistent and to be on the right track. So
yeah, it's a great partnership that we have. He's into a lot of the things that I don't like the computer and the IT, scheduling and organizing and all that, so he keeps the education business together for sure. I couldn't do it without him. So shout out to Danny.
somebody has to be the visionary, somebody the integrator, right? So he's the integrator, you're the visionary.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's like a marriage, but it's a partnership relationship.
Exactly. It's great. It works perfect. So
I'm happy for you guys too. So tell me, Eric, I know you've gone through some hard times in life, but I think it shaped you to the man that you are today, and of course to the successful entrepreneur that you are today. Will you please share with us a little bit about what you like to share, obviously, about your life journey and how you came about doing real estate and development and now this coaching and mentorship program with Danny. We can go back and forth, but start a little bit. I met one of Danny's friend in one of your mentorship program 2 weeks ago, and his name is Troy. And he asked me, he goes, what is one of your darkest moment in life? And I was like, wow, why? The guy's 22 years old asking me this question. So I'm going to ask the same question from you. What was one of the darkest moment in your life, and how did you overcome those dark times? What did you do differently? And just tell us about that.
So I've talked about this on a few podcasts. I don't know, we'll kind of start it from the beginning.
Sure.
Grew up, broken family. Mother remarried a few times, dad remarried a few times. Started becoming a little wild child up maybe at like 15, 16. I was pretty crazy. I was, running around with that kid.
And down to earth. It's crazy.
I'm a lot more calm these days, but started drinking alcohol, trying drugs, smoking weed, that type of thing, just hanging out with the wrong crowd. Ended up moving out and living on my own when I was like 17, right before I graduated high school, actually. I'm surprised I graduated high school, but...
Bravo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we got it done.
You got it done.
So then I was the first one with an apartment, so everybody came over to my house and we just partied a lot, just drank more, we're trying drugs and just doing stupid stuff. Then I got into the cycle of selling drugs, and then sold drugs and partied for a long time, just acting crazy, doing stupid stuff constantly, just lost in life with no direction, no purpose, like a lot of y'all out there might be, and that led me to a 10-year prison stint. So,
wow.
Yeah, I got caught selling drugs. I got put on probation. A year into my probation, I got manslaughter. I was driving drunk, got into a wreck, and somebody had died. So they revoked my probation, sentenced me to 10 years in prison. So that was the first time I ever was sent to prison. So went down to prison, did about 7.5 years in prison. And that's where I was like at my rock bottom, the question was, what is your darkest moment? So that was definitely my darkest moment. And that was when I just changed my entire life. I was like, I cannot do this shit anymore. At that time, I was 27 when I got sentenced. And
very young.
Yeah. So I was in prison and I was just like, man, I could not do this anymore. I got 2 felonies on me. I haven't really accomplished anything in life. I was just running with the wrong people. So we got put on lockdown, and that's where you like can't get up and go anywhere for a long time. You have to like sit in your cell or sit on your bunk and
the isolated one.
So prison, they have like lockdowns where you don't get to go to chow hall, you don't get to go to showers, you don't get to move. You can't move, so you're just stuck. Well, at this prison, they let us go to the library because we knew we were about to get put on lockdown. So I went to the library. I was like, fuck, I don't know how long we're going to be on lockdown for. So I just got a book. I don't really read like fiction books. I like nonfiction books. So I went to the personal development section. I just picked out a book. It was called Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins.
Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins.
Yeah, I remember up until this point, I never read a full book ever in my entire life. And so we got put on lockdown. I didn't have anything to do, bored out of my mind. So I had the book and I read the book. And that book changed my life. From that day forward, I just was like a new person. Like, wow. I didn't even think about doing anything illegal. I was just so focused. I just had an epiphany where I was like, I know that I can become successful. I know that I can do, big things, and I don't have to do illegal things. Everything can be legal. And so I was just dead set from that point on. So then I still had another 5 years to do because I was already locked up maybe like 2.5 years at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I just read self-development books and business books, basically, and real estate books. So, a lot of real estate books. And, here I am today, a very successful real estate developer.
Well, I want to come back to that in just a second. When you said Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins, what was in that book, or what maybe pillars that you learned from that book that made you think that, oh, this is going to change my life. I'm going to do things differently. What, like if you had to say 3 things or 5 things that you could come in your mind and you could share with our audience.
So it had a lot of exercises to do in there, you know, and I do remember vividly one exercise was like, name the 3 richest people that you know. And I was like, okay. And I did all the exercise because I had nothing else to do. So I was just doing everything. You know, it was like, where do you see yourself? Put your goal list, 5 year, 10 year, 20 years, 50 years, all that good stuff. And I was just doing everything. And like, it just got your brain to think.
To wire differently.
Exactly.
You
And so I did everything, but it was like, name the 3 richest people that you know. And I named them. And there's like, what did they do? And it was like oil, real estate, real estate.
So what were the names?
I mean, they might be watching the podcast, but it was just the 3 richest people that I know.
Okay, hold on. You said real estate could be grand.
No, these are people that I know.
Oh, okay.
Personally. These are my friends or people that I know, like personally, that were rich.
So say it again.
The
In real
3
estate,
richest people.
oil, and what was the other one?
Real estate. 2 were in real estate. 1 was in oil.
Okay.
And I like know nothing about oil. I don't like oil. I don't.
Oh, so it was actually narrowing your mindset to see, okay, who are these people and what are they doing that made them successful and rich, right?
Right.
So you wanted to see, basically follow their footsteps.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was getting at. So then I was like, okay, 2 in real estate, 1 in oil. I don't like oil. I'd love real estate. I've always been attracted to real estate. I actually tried to get my mom to purchase a home for me before I got locked up, but she knew how I was making money, so she decided not to do that.
Oh, okay.
She's a pretty smart woman.
Yeah.
What's up, Mom? Yeah, so yeah, I did all that, and then I was like, man, I'm going to do real estate. I'm fucking going to figure this shit out. So for every birthday, every holiday, everything, I would write my friends, write my family, like, just send me real estate books. Anything on real estate, I don't even care. Just send whatever.
Wow.
And then in the books, you know, it'll like maybe quote a different book. So then I would make a list of all the books. And sometimes in the books, it would have like a list of other, you know, similar real estate books. And so I would just write down everything. So then I would start like just requesting all these books. So I just had tons and tons of real estate books sent in. And that's what I did for like 5 years straight. I just read basically real estate, business, and self-development.
That's transformed your life, your mindset. You completely rewired your brain.
Yeah, I did. And
you change your entire genetic makeup. You know, they say that like you can actually, with meditation and the things that you do within, I don't know if it says 3 days or 2 weeks or something, like a short amount of time, you literally can actually change your entire genetic makeup. Like the molecules are coming together. Like that's how you rewire.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I did, because like in there, you have to just stick to yourself, because everybody else in there is like, you know, criminals, bad behavior, criminal cycles. Like they don't really have any tools to get you better. So you can't really talk to anybody in there. So you just have to just dive deep into yourself. And like, I would just stay and just think and plot and strategize and listen to these books and journal. And yeah, it was crazy, but I really enjoyed that process because I knew that it was helping, and it helped me get through my time, you know?
Yeah. So I know when I read something and I get excited, I'm ready to take action. What happened with you with so much, like, I know that like there's energy and a frequency coming to you. What did you do?
I couldn't do shit. And I was like, fuck. So I would just like journal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just come up with ideas constantly, and I would run numbers, and I had all the business magazines subscriptions, so Forbes, Fortune, Inc., Startup, like I had all of them.
They would send it to your family, would send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the most up-to-date ones, right?
I would get all the new, you know, magazines every month.
Yeah.
So I would just study them like crazy. And I like Forbes would always do an article on Donald Trump, like every year, of his assets and the values of them and how they went up and down. And so I would be like charting it out, and like it was crazy.
Wow.
And I read a lot of commercial real estate. So it's kind of crazy that I'm still in residential real estate today. Yeah. Because I know a lot about commercial. And I haven't done it, but I'm excited to get into it probably this year.
Next year. So, you know, when you do things differently, I'm sure the people that are around you also notice, what are these guards? And like the people who are around you, what do they start telling you? Like, who is this guy? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm sure you were like the outcast, right?
Yeah.
So how do they like behave around you?
I mean, honestly, it's not too different from the free world out here.
Yeah.
Most people out here are employee mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm an employer mindset. So I want, obviously own my own company and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So you just have to pick and choose who you can talk to, because a lot of people aren't on the same wavelength as you.
No.
And even in there, it's probably worse in there, but even out here is the same thing. So I still have the same frustration today. I can't talk to many people.
Because you have to find the people that you can actually, relate about. Just like Danny said, his friends, like, what did he say, Kevin? He said if he was buying a car, he was talking about how he bought the car. He's like, his friend, it's like, if you buy your car at 22, it's like as if you're cashing out from 401k. I'm like, oh my God. It's like the mindset, right? And so the more people you hang around that are leveled up, like the more you want to be just like them, right?
Exactly,
so
yeah.
There's not, when you go low to the top, it gets more lonely.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always that way. It's always that way.
And even now, like I'm, losing a bunch of friends right now because I don't know if it's envy or jealousy or what, but they've seen what I've been able to do in the short amount of time since I've been released. And I think it reminds them of like, they gave up on their dreams maybe. I don't know what it is, but a lot of my friends for a long time, like 20, 25 years, are getting mad at me over the little tiniest shit. I'm like, you got mad at that? What for? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to build my own life, you know what I mean? Leave a legacy for my own self. So it's pretty crazy, but yeah, it definitely gets lonely up here.
And you had 5 years of self-awareness, self-education, self-development. So you have a lot of convictions within yourself that you can do it. Just like Danny mentioned, and then the thing, if you have convictions, you can actually achieve anything, do anything, and you have that.
Yeah, you definitely have to believe in yourself. Yeah. And that, a lot of people just don't believe.
Yeah.
But I have an extremely strong faith. I know that I can accomplish anything. If there's another man that's accomplished it, I for sure believe 100% conviction that I can do it. There's just,
a doubt in your mind.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you came out of prison, I know we talked a little briefly when we had the dinner with Mike and Danny and Sean and Michael. You mentioned, I want to start a little bit with that journey. When you came out, because, when you come out of prison for 7.5 years, all of a sudden you come into the real world, a lot of people get scared, but you were focused and determined.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about how did you pick up your life? How did you do things differently, literally the moment you came out?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I was gone for so long, 7.5 years. Basically, everything that was on my credit fell off my credit. It takes 7 years.
Yes.
So I had no credit. Anything that I owned 7 years ago, I don't even know where it is or where it was. So I didn't have anything, no clothes, no shoes, no nothing. I get out with like $150 gate money that they give you. They give you like a birth certificate, social security card. Yeah. And they're like, here you go, your life's starting over.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, all right, let's do it. So then I went to live with my mom.
For how long?
I lived with her, kind of got back on my feet. I got a job with one of my really good friends. Yeah. He owns a logistics, like trucking business.
Uh-huh.
So I had to have a job on parole because I was still on parole for 2.5 years. So he gave me a job. I worked with him. And then once I started getting some paychecks, she lives in Fort Worth, but he lives in Dallas, and the job was in Dallas. So he was like, hey, come live in my guest bedroom.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I lived in his guest bedroom, but he was married, so it was kind of strange. I was like, what? I went to prison at 27, got out at 35. So I was a 35-year-old dude living in the, basement of his house.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, how long you gonna live here? The wife was kind of like, what's going on,
Yeah.
So I started flipping homes, and then, okay, so I lived with my mom for 3 months, went and lived with my friend. And in the meantime, all I did was like Zillow real estate and look at real estate.
Yes.
And so I did all that. I knew I wanted to get in real estate, but I didn't know like
what to do, how to start.
Like, fuck, how much does this tile cost? Like, how much does it cost to pay the contractor to do the drywall? I didn't know any of that shit, but I knew like all the basics from the books.
Yes.
So I was like, I need to get like a flip, like a small flip to learn. So that's what I did. I found a flip. Actually, one of my friends brought me a flip, and he had already flipped 2 homes on that same street. He was like, man, this one's probably a pretty good deal. I paid him $8,000 finder's fee. I ended up buying that flip. I borrowed money from my sister. So thankfully, she was able to give me that.
Yes.
I bought it. put like 40 grand. I think I bought it for like 200 to 220, put like 40 grand into it and sold it for like 320 something.
That's a good profit.
Yeah. I paid back my sister plus the interest, and then I kept 53,000.
Yeah. On
Yeah.
your first
And I was
flip.
out of prison maybe like 6 months, maybe.
You made basically whatever average, American can make in 1 year, and you're 6 months coming out of prison.
Yeah.
Because you had the education, the self-awareness of how to
Believe
change.
in
Yeah, and believe in yourself.
And a drive.
And a
It's like,
drive, yeah.
yeah. And I just, insatiable, like, quench for success.
Yeah.
I still have it today,
Oh, I know. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Don't look at him that he's so calm and humble and down to earth. He is a driven man. And we're going to get to in just a few minutes of what he has accomplished so far. So tell us more.
So sold that one, made 53,000. Most people would go buy something. I didn't buy anything. I was just like, nah, okay, this works. So that was kind of like proof of concept. So then I was like, fuck, I need another one, and I'm still working logistics, waking up 5 a.m., still going to my job, like sitting behind a computer on the phone. Yeah.
You had a full-time
job during all this. I had a full-time job for like a year, and I was still doing commercial, like not commercial, real estate on the side.
On the side,
yeah. So did the flip, made 53,000, found another flip, borrowed the money again, bought it, and then I was going to flip it. I was going to put $75,000 into it, and probably I shouldn't have bought this house because as a flip.
Yeah.
But I should have bought it as a new construction.
Yeah.
So I started looking at it, and they were building all these badass modern townhomes on the street. And I was like, man, I cannot. It's like a little dumpy house. And I was like, I cannot put $75,000 into this. They got these 4-story modern townhomes next to it. So even if I like made it look nice, it's going to be like, and then go right back up. Yeah. It's going to look out of place. So I either had to sell it, or I either had to hire a builder, or I had to figure this building out on my own. So
what'd you do?
Well, the same person that brought me that first flip.
Yeah.
He had flipped a bunch of properties, but he had never done new construction.
Huh.
So I asked him, I was like, hey, look, man, help me fucking figure this out. I know you can do it. I know I can do it. Like, we can do this. Because you got to think, I was gone 7.5 years.
Yeah.
So when I got out, East Dallas changed. It was fucking like all townhomes. Like, everybody was a builder, I felt like. I got out and I was like, fuck, is everybody a builder? Like, this shit was going up everywhere. I was like, man, I know if all these people can do it, then I 100% can do this. So
I've been through 100 times of life. I can do it.
I can figure this out. So I told my buddy, I was like, look, I already own the land. Like, let's just figure it out. I want to learn. I want this to be my career. I don't want to just hire a builder and just pay him, a fee and not learn anything, because then I got to keep doing that. So I brought him on. I said, let's just split it 50-50. I own the land. You help me. We'll get lending. We'll figure it out. So that's what we did. Figured it out. And we ended up actually building that one into a duplex. I demolished it and built it into a duplex. And I got the loan. So I owned one house. Huh? There was another lot next to me.
And you bought that one too?
Yeah. So I leveraged the house that I bought into the construction on this one, the lot, and the construction on this one. So I ended up building 2 duplexes, which was 4 units.
Wow.
So as those were going up, then the lot next to me on the other side came up for a bit to buy. And I was like, fuck, I want this one too. I wanted to.
Want to try.
And I was learning. I was like, man, I saw the numbers and we started seeing comp selling, and it was just like, man, this is going to be good. So I figured out how to buy that one. So then I built 6 of them. I made over $500,000 on all that.
In what period of time?
I was probably out of prison now, like a little over a year, maybe a year and a half.
Look at that.
Yeah. So now I had, I sold that one for $53,000. This was my second one, turned into a new construction, turned into 6 units. Right?
Yeah.
So now I sold, made $500,000. Most people would go spend that money.
Yes.
I didn't
not
spend
do anything.
A penny.
I remember you telling me that dinner too. Like, I didn't spend.
I still was working
2 years, right?
Yeah, for like 2.5 years. I didn't spend a penny on anything. I just fucking shopped at Ross and Target and Walmart and wore whatever. I didn't even care. I didn't care. Like, and so,
like, I lived a hard life in prison. This is just perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I was just happy to be free. I was just happy to be free. And, I was happy sleeping on in my mom's guest bedroom. I was like, fuck, at least I'm out of that place, So anyway, it was easy for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, my partner ended up going to buy like a Bentley and a Rolex, and like I just kept buying land. So then I bought another land, and I bought some more land, and yeah, next thing you know, I had like 40 the pipeline was full of like 40 residential homes.
Wow.
And once that started going, I was like, all right, I can spend some money because I got a lot of money about to keep hitting me. Yeah. So then that's when I got like a Rolex, and then I got like a McLaren and stuff.
Yeah, look at the outfit. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, now,
That's when he went crazy.
yeah. Well, now we're like 5-6 years later, but
Yes.
yeah, 2.5 years, didn't spend a penny, and then I started getting like that type of stuff once I filled up the pipeline. So and that's, I teach this stuff too, and that's why I tell my students, first we have to learn, and then we have to scale, and then that's when you get rich. You get rich third. Focus on learning, focus on scaling what you learned, and then focus on the money. A lot of people are like, oh no, let's just get this and then go waste all the money. It's like, okay, well, now you can't scale. So now you're just going to be over here trying to gain traction.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to keep finding one land. That's not going to make you rich. So,
yeah. So, Eric, thank you so much for sharing that. That was incredible. Like, talk about the first 2 years of what's happened. I mean, only the first year, how you did it, but first year practically made over $500,000, And so, just to, a testament to never giving up, right? And believing in yourself, as you mentioned, and also doing a lot of self-development. That's where it got you, right?
Yep.
And so now I know about you're 5.5 years out, right?
About 6, yeah.
6. So maybe when you were 4.5 years out, Danny reached out to you, right? And so tell me about that journey, because Eric has a mastermind program and in real estate, and teaching others how to start from scratch and educating them with Danny, which is his partner. But tell me about how that experience went. How did he reach out to you, and why did you think that he's going to be a good partner for you to start real estate with? And tell me about that journey, and after that about your mastership program.
Yeah, program. I got out, got the logistics jobs, flipped the house, got another house to flip, did the new construction, got into new construction, built a commercial 5-unit. I didn't really like it. It was like 5 townhomes.
Uh-huh.
And then I bought 3 single families, and they were like $1 million each, right around that.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked the $1 billion stuff, because you got to think I was in a self so long, and then I was like building this $1 million home, and it was like pretty fast.
Yes.
Yep.
I
was like, what the fuck?
This is better.
How the hell am I building this thing? It was crazy. But I did it. I sold it. The shit was getting wired to my account. I was like, fuck, this is cool.
This happened.
So I just kept doubling down on that. And then, I started making a lot of money. So, I make 6 figures on each home that I build. And so it's just a lot of money was coming in. And so that's when I started buying stuff and stuff like that. Well, the classes came organically because a lot of people just came to me and were like, man, weren't you just in prison? Like, what the fuck? How are you like own all this?
Because you also were sharing your story too, right? You were sharing your story.
Well, I wasn't really sharing it at the time. Not much, I didn't.
Comfortable?
I was gone so long, I didn't really know how to fucking use the phone. When I was gone, there wasn't no phone like that. When I got out, I was like, they know exactly where I'm at right now? I can push this button and the car's going to pull up right here in front of me. I was like, what the fuck? I was a drug dealer, so I was like, I don't want that technology near me. So it was very strange, right?
I love it. He's so raw.
But it was the truth. It was like,
it was the truth.
As a drug dealer, you don't want them to know where you're at.
Exactly.
Especially like right then and there, maybe like later. So so it's kind of strange. So it's like the transition for me from going, selling drugs to now being like out in the public and like putting myself out there was still kind of strange. But I mean, now.
When did you start social media?
I started it just to like, look around,
Like when you came out of prison?
Yeah.
Okay. But then did you start posting stuff like for real or just?
No, I didn't really know how it all worked. I was just like, seeing people, I'm like, okay, what do I do? And did that, and it was just, I don't know.
Yeah, he's still like not all that 100% comfortable doing it. He does it just for education.
I'm comfortable now. Now I don't care. Now I could jump on podcasts and it doesn't matter. And also, I don't do anything illegal, so I don't care if the car comes right here and picks me up. Could be a cop pull up. I'll be like, hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
Let's go on dinner.
Let's go. Yeah, now it's like I'm not scared of cops. I don't care. I love cops. So yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, and so I remember when Danny, right, Kevin, when he was mentioning in the podcast that, when you mentioned you guys maybe like had over 100,000 or maybe 200,000 followers or something like that, right? About a year and a half ago. And all of a sudden things changed. What happened? Like, I want to know
Okay, yeah.
that part.
So yeah, that's what I was getting at. So I started making a lot of money,
Uh-huh.
and people organically were coming up to me like, "Dude, you were just in prison. How the hell do you drive a McLaren and own fucking, almost 100 rental homes and like all this shit, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, and people just kept coming. So I was like, you know what? And I started seeing like people host these master classes and these masterminds, and I don't know. I was like, I want to try something new. I want to teach people because I knew the demand was there because they're asking me.
Yes.
So I was like, look,
We just didn't know how to start it.
right. So I told my girl, I was like, look, I'm gonna host a master class. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And this was last December,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I'm gonna host one in January, and we'll just see what happens. If I sell 10 tickets, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I sold them for $1,500. That's $15,000. I was like, shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to eat with one of my friends. I was like, how do you make a Stripe link, on your phone? I took him to breakfast, and he taught me how to make a Stripe link on the thing. And I had to set up the Stripe account and all that shit, and I did that. And
this is action taker. He wanted to get something done and he just went for it. And I'm sitting here asking Danny, I'm like, Danny, how do you do this? And he shows me stuff at school, which is Alex Homosius stuff, but we can get to it. But tell me more.
Yeah, so he taught me at breakfast. I paid for his breakfast, said thank you. And then later that night, I fucking posted it. Said, hey, I'm hosting a masterclass. If you ever wanted to learn real estate development, I'm teaching it from A to Z, sharing my story of how I was able to, become a multimillionaire through this. And yeah, man, I sold 40 tickets like that.
You like, laughing.
Yeah, it was like $1,500,
Yeah.
however much that is, like $60K.
Yeah.
I was like, well, perfect. So now I had to do it. I had like fucking 30 days to figure out how to do it.
This is incredible.
It was crazy. So then I had to I was just calling people and like, I need to help create a slideshow. Who do I pay? I need somebody to do this. And yeah, I wrote it all down on my buddy was like, look, just grab some paper and write down what you want on the slideshow on one paper, and the second. So I went to the lake house and I just fucking focused and was like, okay.
What you did exactly in prison, right? You were focused.
Exactly. And I just focused.
Structure.
And then I did it. I sent it to him, and then we figured it out. Made a little slideshow, and we still use the same slideshow today. Actually,
the guy that I came myself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. That was another one. That was incredible. I mean, I saw it. It was like organized.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's the same one.
You guys invited me.
It's been refined
here as well.
It's been refined a little bit, but
it's fun.
Yeah, it's the majority of the same thing that from the first one. So that's how the whole thing got started. In the meantime, around the same time, I was flying back from Tulum, and I got this message on Instagram, and it was like this website looking thing. I don't know what any of the shit is at the time.
Yeah.
And it was from Danny. He sent it to me.
Yeah.
And it was like how to turn dirt into $500,000. And he took all the pictures off my Instagram and put them on there. And then he put a blank lot and then the house that I built, and it would be profit $430,000. And then he would go, example one. And there was more examples in example two.
I was trying to grab your attention.
Yeah. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, damn, this is fucking badass. I was like, this is what I need, because I'm not a tech guy. But I knew I wanted to do stuff like that. So that's when I started, posting more and trying to get my followers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, I would have never done it if, Danny didn't figure it all out for me, because I was making money in development. I still make all my money in real estate development. Yeah. So it's like, I do what I do to make my money here. I'm not even into tech and shit. So
I can't figure this out, but he saw the opportunity and he's like,
so then I hit him up and I responded to him. I was like, man, this is really cool or whatever. Where are you from? He was like, Dallas. I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah, we were filming.
I was like, well, I'm on a flight. Let's have lunch this week.
Yeah.
And so I went to lunch with them. He's like 20, 21 years old, shows up. I'm like, he's a little young.
Oh, you flew him to Tulum, right?
No, I was flying back from Tulum.
Oh, you were flying to Tulum. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he lived in Dallas. I live in Dallas. So we met for lunch when I got back. And yeah, and he showed up. We started talking. He was trying to get me to pay him. And I was like, look, man, I'm not paying nobody nothing, right? So
you're like, show me the money first.
Yeah, exactly. You believe in this. And I know that I can do it too. So if you think you can do it too, then let's make a partnership.
Yeah.
And once the money hits, you'll get paid.
Yes.
And he was like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And yeah, the rest is history, man.
It's been a year and a half, right?
Probably not even that long.
Not that long. Okay.
Probably a year. Yeah.
So tell me how, first of all, so tell me a little bit what the mentorship, a mastermind program is, so that our audience can learn a bit more about you. So if people are interested, you can let them know how they can reach out to you, your Instagram, tagline, and potentially what is the cost of the course? Like, I don't mind sharing, because people need to know.
Yeah. So basically I teach people, how to make 6 and 7 figure profits on one deal. This isn't Section 8 bullshit where you make like $200 a month where you're never going to get rich, right?
Right.
This isn't flipping where it's a headache and you buy it and next thing you know, you got to fucking change the subplumbing under the foundation and you don't have it in the expense. You don't have it in your budget. So now you got to come out $30K out of your pocket, right? Because that happened to me too.
He's talking about his own experience.
Yeah, I only talk about things that I have done or experienced, right? I own a shitload of rental homes and they all suck. I've flipped many homes, multi-million-dollar homes, and it is a pain in the ass every single time. And wholesaling, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I've wholesaled deals and made 200,000. Yeah. But how many of that can you find? Not very many, right?
Right.
So
you want something that's predictable.
So I've done it all.
Yeah.
And real estate development is the most predictable, the most systematized, and you can make huge profits. And you don't got to fucking go to school. You don't got to get licensed. You don't got to do shit. You can be a 2-time convicted felon fresh out of penitentiary and turn yourself into a multimillionaire pretty damn easily because I did it. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's what I teach.
Incredible.
So join the program. I teach you how to find the deal, underwrite the lot. I help you with finding the realtors. I help you with lending. Basically, every single step, I hold your hand and help you every step all along the way until you sell this thing for a big-ass profit.
And how long is your program?
The program is 12 one-on-one calls is the mid-tier program. And then the higher-tier program is like from beginning to end. Which is like I show up on site, I walk you through everything. I'm actually like teaching you on site right next to you. The mid-tier is just on Zoom calls.
The Zoom calls.
So, yeah.
And this is for people in state or out of state, or you can do both?
Yeah, I have students all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Eric, can you tell me what is the cost of your mastermind program?
Yeah, so like I was saying, we got the mid-tier and then the high tier, the elite program. So the elite program is $50,000, and that's where I'm on site right next to you, helping you many site visits, making sure everything's good for all the inspections and everything. And then the mid tier is $20,500 right now. It's actually started less than that, and we've had like 3 price increases because the value is crazy.
Yes.
I mean, some of my students like paid me like $15,000, $20,000, and they're about to make $600,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
one of the first students is about to sell his home and makes almost $600K.
Wow.
And he invested like when we first dropped this thing, and it was like, you know what I mean? Now it's at 20,000. We've had like 4 price increases. So he was like,
you got
his return on investment is ridiculous.
That's the one.
10,000%.
That's the one that we visited the site, right?
Yeah, we went to the site. Yeah. So yeah,
right?
man, the value is crazy. So we're actually getting a lot of students lately. So probably going to increase the price again.
Okay.
So if you are wanting to get into it, you can find me at EricEpic23 on Instagram. DM me the word builder, and I'll help you get into it. Also on YouTube is EricEpic23. I give a lot of free game out there. I teach a lot of, things that I've been through. And so if you need the free content, check out all my content on both those platforms.
Oh my gosh, guys, about his content. I mean, I feel like if somebody has the time to sit down and go through all his content, then just by itself, I feel like that's a free course. Like a lot of value comes from what he's literally saying on those contents, and every single one of them. I've watched a lot of it too.
Yeah.
It brings a lot of value. I mean, it's very educational, very informative, and he's very generous with his knowledge. Like he is, that's why I feel like, if you guys believe in higher power or spirituality, I feel like God has, when people who are out there who are so generous and giving, like yourself, and like Danny, I feel like God just blesses them with tenfolds of, and then tenfolds. I mean, come on, not tenfolds, 1,000-fold of what you put out there. Because I feel like that energy, that frequency, just keeps elevating you and elevating you, and you keep matching those opportunities. This, like meeting. You said, "Oh, you, but I've never done it by yourself." And then he's also on a journey.
Yeah, it shows up.
Exactly. And Danny shows up, right? Match right there. And it'll transform what you were already 1,000% successful, but at a different level as well, because you could also use your knowledge to teach others as well.
Right.
So
I love it. It's a lot more fulfilling as well, watching somebody like, I've already achieved, a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so watching some of my students just getting into this, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that was me getting out of prison. I was like, how the fuck do I get into this? Like, I want to get into it, but it's kind of hard to get into it,
Yes.
Like when I was getting out, like I was researching, I was watching YouTube, listening to all the podcasts, I would do everything.
Yeah.
And I was still like lost trying to figure out how to get into it. So that was when I had to find a partner, or I could have hired the builder or something, however it was. But that's how I got into it. And now that I offer this, it's so much easier. And the cost is like, I had to split my 50-50, which was like, 700 plus, maybe close to $1 million that I had to,
with the
give up.
Yes.
So, because he took half, I took half, and like, we made a lot of money, but I could have made a lot more.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And now you're seeing the value, like, oh my gosh, I am a lot of value to people.
Yeah. So you pay me a small fee, you keep 100% of the profits. I'm not in on the deal or anything like that. And yeah, much, much better way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're incredible, Eric. And I'm so happy that I have met you. And I want to give a shout out again to Mike Barron to have introduced me to Eric, one of the biggest influencers in Dallas area, who's in development and, eventually going to commercial as well, which is his goal. But Eric, before I wrap this up, can you just give us a little bit of, the profit, like, the way you invest and what is the profit that comes out of that? Because I think it's most important. Like, people think, oh, you're going to do flip and then 50,000. We started with that, but you're doing bigger deals. So tell me a little bit about, first of all, Chelsea, your fiance.
Oh yeah.
She's gorgeous. I love her, Chelsea. I mean, hopefully she'll become my patient. I should be my podcast soon too.
Yeah, she'll come. She loves to talk. She'll talk. You don't ask anything. You just let her talk.
She's amazing.
We're a great combination because I'm more reserved and I don't talk too much. And then she'll be next to me and she just keeps the conversation going.
Can I say something before you say something? So last time when I was the mastermind program, I'm trying to find a place to sit for lunch. And I so appreciate you.
Yeah.
He literally, Eric said, he comes sit next to her, like to her fiance. Oh my God, we had a blast. And, I appreciate that very much because, I didn't know anybody, but at the same time, it's not like I'm not talking with somebody, but he put me at the best spot. He's amazing. And he put me right next to his fiance. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how your deal, how they...
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question. We didn't touch base on it, but so the program works by like, how much money do you need? Mm-hmm. Well, I curate the program based on how much money you have.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have any money, you're going to need some money to obviously pay me to get started. But if you don't have any money for the down payment, I can get you business funding. If you don't have good credit, I have credit repair people on the team. They are phenomenal. They'll fix your credit. And once we fix your credit, you graduate from that. And then you go into the credit funding part. And that's where I get you a bunch of money on credit cards, essentially, right? So we get you credit funding, and then we use that money for the real estate development. So even if you have bad credit, no money, I can help you out.
In what period of time their credit can be repaired?
It depends on what we're taking off, how many derogatories, if there's collections, how many collections, inquiries, all that good stuff. But it varies, but we can get it done, within probably 30 days.
30 days? I thought maybe 6 months.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
For 4 to 6 weeks, we can clean up your credit, get you into the business funding, get you some money, start looking for land. So you'll do the credit repair, credit funding, and then come with me to do the real estate development and start sourcing land for you. So yeah, if you have no money, that's how we do that. If you do have money, say, hey, Eric, I got $100K. So then I will basically start looking for land around $200K because the rule of thumb is we put about 50% down on the land and then we leverage a hard money lender to loan on the other 50% of the land and 100% of the construction.
Yes.
So usually it's about 50% you're putting down on the land. So if you got $100,000, I'm looking for around a $250,000 piece of land, which is going to equate to about $1 million home.
Wow.
So
how much is going to cost for the construction?
Depends on the area that we're in. You know, in South Dallas, we can build for $110 a square foot. Lower, you know, if you're building a $1 to $2 million home, we're going to be building for like $150 to $170 per square foot. If you're into like the Highland Park where I'm building, you're going to be up into the $250 to $350 per square foot because of nicer finishes, appliances, floors, bigger windows, custom doors, custom cabinetry, like so a lot more things going.
So Eric, if I may ask this question from you, would you be able to share with our audience what has been your biggest, I would say, investment and biggest profit, you know, for one of your real estate deals?
Yeah, definitely. I just actually sold one about 2 or 3 months ago, and I made close to $800,000 on that one deal. And it's crazy because that month I had sold 3, so I made over $1.5 million that month.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So
from prison to making
$1.5 million a month. So if I may ask, what was the investment on the land? What was the cost of the construction? What was the purchase price?
So the land was about $800,000, and then we built it, I think, for right around $750,000.
Yeah.
I sold it for $2,717.
$2,717.
Yeah, and then I had to pay carry costs and closing commission to realtors and stuff.
Wow, this is just a testament to say there are no excuses in life, you guys. He had put 0 excuses for himself, no matter his previous circumstances and life choices, right?
Right.
Because he made life choices differently, and he started thinking differently. He started acting differently, changing his mindset, changing his entire life and being.
Yeah, and I'm still, you know, I don't get comfortable either. I mean, just today, that's why I was late to the interview, because I was buying a $2.5 million lot.
Wow.
And yeah, I'll be building an $8 million home, which I'll be profiting right around $2.5 million on that.
Oh, that will be your biggest still then. So you should back.
And I own the one directly next door, and so now I own 3 of them in that neighborhood.
In Highland Park?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't ever rest, and I don't get comfortable, and I continue to strive for more and be better and, you know, leave a legacy. So
I just want to say thank you so much. It has been an honor to meet you and for you to even give me the privilege to come to my practice, be my patient.
I love it. You're the best.
Oh, you're so sweet. And also even though he has such a busy morning, he still did his best to make it here. He has a flight, guys, in about, 2.5 hours. I'm still sitting here talking. I need to let him go.
Yeah.
But I so appreciate it. You haven't been packed? Oh, my God. That's stressing me out.
But that's what I always do.
It's you live life on the edge.
Right. Everything I do is on the edge.
Yeah. Well, you know, look at him. He's successful. And so if I may ask, last question, I promise. What would be the 3 life lessons or 3 things or maybe 5 things you would like to share with our audience for those who want to grow in life? Because I feel like I'm privileged to be among you and Danny, and I feel like, you know, I'm already leveling up just listening to you. And my mind is like wiring differently. And so what would you say to someone out there who's listening to you, whether it be young, whether it be old, whether it be my age? What would you advise?
You know, I think definitely number 1 would believe in God.
Wow.
And like believe in God and do the right thing always, you know. Be genuine, don't mess people over, that type of stuff. And then, so yeah, believe in God. Number 2, show up. You know, that's what a lot of people they don't even show up. Like, show up for yourself, right?
Yes.
You can do it. Believe in yourself, believe in God, believe in yourself, and be consistent. That is like probably the number 1 thing what's wrong with society is they aren't consistent enough.
Yeah.
They want to lose weight, so they show up to the gym like 2-3 times, and then they don't show up. And they just keep getting in that same habits. So, I mean, I could go on all kind. Man, these people. So, yeah, I could go on.
The busy man.
Watch your circle, like your network. Like, that was my downfall. And I don't let anybody into my circle that is not like an entrepreneur, trying to do better, stuff like that. I don't let people in my circle. It's a very tight circle because I know what that will happen if I allow somebody in, and then I start picking up those habits and smoking and drinking, and next thing you know, I get into another wreck and I'm back in prison. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then, I mean, reading is also a big, big thing. A lot of people out here don't read, but all the knowledge is in the books, man.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much knowledge. I've learned so much through that, and it's changed my life. So, I mean, yeah, we could talk, and I could give you more than 5, 3, 6. I mean,
That's incredible.
Yeah,
so, one thing that I've noticed, I was telling Danny too, is that all the successful people that I've noticed a common theme and pattern, as you mentioned, first is spirituality. And I feel like everybody, like someone who is really successful, they believe there's a higher power and they have that spirituality. That's what keeps them going. That's what keeps them motivated. Second thing is to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you're not doing it for anybody else, doing it for yourself and being consistent, and I see you every day. You posting about your gym and your workout and eating healthy food and doing the right thing. And how you see him, guys, is exactly how he is. He's very down to earth. I know he wears his jewels, but he's like, this is just, doing the showing off, but in reality, it's showing that his success is. But really, he's a very down to earth guy. And I am honored to be in your presence. And at the same time, you also mentioned reading books, which is really incredible, is what had transformed your entire being in the last 5 years that you were in prison.
I don't know if I ever would have made that mental shift if I didn't read that book. So
and the book was, let me see, Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins, right?
Yep. Yes. And there's another one called Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins, which is really great too. Both of those, they're really thick books. They're awesome.
So I'm going to repeat it again. Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins and Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins.
And then my favorite author is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read every one of his books, and he really got me thinking about like financial literacy, taught me about assets and liabilities and cash flow and the cash flow quadrant and all this good stuff. So those are really good. That's a really good book, and read all his books as well.
Yeah. Wow. Eric, thank you so much for bringing so much value.
Yeah, thanks
to my podcast and for my patients, for my audience. I am so excited to hopefully see you again.
Definitely.
In a year from now and tell me, because I know you have a goal of hitting, can I say that?
100 million.
100 million.
Yeah.
Net worth. Why? You have a set date, right?
Yeah, well, I want to have 100 million in the pipeline this year. Right now I'm at 26, so it should be pretty easy to fill it up. So
when you hit the 100 million, can I bring you back on my podcast and for you to say it?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Let's do it.
Wow, that's incredible. My gosh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I so appreciate you, Eric. And I am honored to have you part of my life, because I think I want to have a friend like you who is incredibly at a high level, so I can at least learn one thing or two things from you.
Yeah, like, you're at a high level too. She's a dentist, owns like multiple dentistries, knows everything about dental. It's awesome.
So thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you guys for watching our podcast. Eric, one of the biggest influencers in Dallas area. If you wanted to be on his mastermind program.
Yeah, Eric Epic 23. DM me Builder on Instagram, or like I said, it's Eric Epic 23 on YouTube as well. Just send me a DM, leave a comment. I'll see it. I'll reach out to you. Also, I host those masterminds. The next one's on March 29th. So if you would like to attend that, find me on Instagram, send me a DM. Also, the link is in my bio. And yeah, I host them every 2 months. So if you can't make the March 29th, we'll have another one 2 months later.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Eric. And hopefully we get to see you sometime soon. And again, I appreciate you for all your advice, your word of wisdom about the books and about your learning and your life transformation.
Yep.
And anyhow,
thank you for having me.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Yeah, see ya.